Matchday 8 in the Champions League has come and gone, and after 18 games that were filled with incredibly intense football action, the league table has finally been completed. 8 teams have booked their spot in the next round, while 16 teams have confirmed their spot in the playoff round, and the other 12 sides have been eliminated from the competition. Today, we're looking back at all 18 matches from the 8th and final day of league phase action to see which sides made the most of the spotlight, which sides barely made it into the playoffs, and which sides are going home early. This truly is the pinnacle of Champions League football, and what comes next will be legendary. The first match of the day would be a crucial encounter between Aston Villa and Celtic. It would take just 3 minutes for the home side to take the lead after some build-up play would lead to a great tap-in finish by Rodgers, giving Villa a 1-0 lead. It wouldn't take long for Rodgers to get his second goal, and just 2 minutes later his gorgeous strike would find the back of the net, giving Villa a wild 2-0 lead. Celtic would go on and get 2 quick goals of their own, and with Ida's quick strikes in the 36th and 38th minute, the match was now level at 2-2. Aston Villa would take control of the second half, and with Ollie Watkins scoring a goal in the 60th minute, followed by a missed penalty of his own just 8 minutes later, Villa were now by 3 goals to 2. Aston Villa would finish off their night on a high, and with Morgan Rodgers grabbing his hat-trick in added time, the English side would come away with a clinical 4-2 victory. The next match of the day would see second place Barcelona face off against 7th place Atalanta. Atalanta came ever so close to getting the opening goal of the match, but Zeba Costa's goal in the 36th minute would be ruled out by VAR. The first half would see just 3 shots on target between both sides as the match went into halftime stuck at 0-0. It wouldn't take long for Barcelona to score the opening goal, with Lamine Yamal's incredible solo effort in the 47th minute giving the Spanish side a 1-0 lead. Atalanta would finally get their opening goal in the 67th minute after a beautiful shot for Ederson would bring the game level at 1-1. That lead would last just 6 minutes, with Araujo's header in the 73rd minute restoring Barcelona's lead once again at 2-1. Atalanta refused to give up, and just 6 minutes later it would be Pasalic whose amazing solo effort would bring the game to its final scoreline of 2-2. Moving over to Germany, Leverkusen and Sparta Prague faced off in a rather low-stakes match. The match would get off to a flying start, and it would be Florian Wirtz who would get the opening goal in the 32nd minute, giving the home side a much-deserved 1-0 lead. Leverkusen would grab the next goal of the match in the 64th minute, with Nathan Tell's rebound shot giving the German side a commanding 2-0 lead. That would be the final significant play of the match, as Leverkusen came away with a dominant win. Staying in Germany but moving down south, Bayern went up against Slovan Bratislava in a match that was over before it even started. It would take just 8 minutes for Thomas Müller to find the back of the net after a great header, giving the home side an early 1-0 lead. Bayern's next goal of the match would come in the 63rd minute after some great build-up play would be finished off by Harry Kane, giving Bayern a 2-0 lead. Bayern's third goal of the night would come from Kingsley Coman in the 84th minute, as the German side were well and truly on their way now. A consolation goal for Tolic in the 90th minute would see the game finish off at 3-1 for Bayern, despite some solid efforts from the Slovakian visitors. Moving over to the Signal Iduna Park, Dortmund and Shakhtar faced off in a crucial match for the home side. Dortmund's opening goal would come in the 17th minute after some clinical team play that would lead to Guirassy getting the opener, giving the home side an early 1-0 lead. Guirassy would get his second goal of the night in the 44th minute after some sloppy defense from the Ukrainians would give Dortmund a 2-0 lead going into the break. Shakhtar would get the first goal of the second half after some atrocious play from Dortmund's goalkeeper, giving Marlon Gomez the opening goal for the Ukrainian side in the 51st minute. It would take 30 more minutes for Dortmund to find the next goal of this match, as Ben Sebaini's delightful chip over the goalie would give the home side a 3-1 victory over the Ukrainian visitors. Moving across the border over to France, Brest and Real Madrid played out a solid match between 2 mid-table sides. It would be none other than Rodrigo who would score the opening goal after a great solo run, giving Madrid a 1-0 lead in the 27th minute. Brest would get the opening goal of the second half in the 51st minute, but it would be disallowed for offside after a VAR check, keeping the match at 1-0 for Madrid. The Spanish side would respond rather quickly, and Bellingham's tap-in goal in the 56th minute would give them a commanding 2-0 lead. Real Madrid would cap off their night with one more goal in the 78th minute, and with Rodrigo grabbing his brace, Madrid would go on to win this match by 3-0. The next match of the day would take place in Croatia, as Dinamo Zagreb went into a must-win match over AC Milan. Against all odds, it would be Baturina's strike in the 19th minute that would give Dinamo an early 1-0 lead after a comical error from the Italian defense. Things would go from bad to worse for Milan, as Musa's second yellow in the 39th minute would lead to the Italians being forced to play with 10 men in the second half. The Italian visitors would get the first goal of the second half, with Pulisic's impressive finish in the bottom right corner bringing the game level at 1-1 in the 53rd minute. The home side would take just 7 minutes to reply, and with Piazza's incredible strike in the 60th minute, Dinamo would go on to grab an incredible 2-1 win over AC Milan. Moving over to Spain, Girona and Arsenal faced off in a match that meant almost nothing to either side. The Spanish side would take a surprising lead in the 28th minute after a beautiful long-range effort by Danjuma would give Girona a crazy 1-0 lead. Arsenal would inevitably get the equalizing goal, and after Jorginho's clean penalty into the right corner in the 38th minute, the match was now level level at 1-1. Arsenal's next goal came just 4 minutes later after a gorgeous solo run and curling effort from Ethan Nwaneri would give Arsenal a 2-1 lead going into the break. There would be no goals in the second half despite some decent chances as the English visitors came away with a 2-1 win. The next game of the day would see Inter and Monaco face off in a crucial match for the visiting side. The Italians took just 4 minutes to get their first goal after a gorgeous penalty from Martinez would give Inter a 1-0 lead. It would take just 12 minutes for Martinez to get his second goal of the night as Inter took a commanding 2-0 lead in the 16th minute. The first goal of the second half would come from none other than Martinez in the 67th minute as Inter Milan would go on to win this match by a dominant 3-0 scoreline. Staying in Italy but moving over to Turin, Juventus went up against Benfica in a very important match where both sides were looking for the win. It would be none other than Pavlidis who would get the opening goal for Benfica in the 17th minute, giving the Portuguese side a crucial 1-0 lead early on. Benfica would have to wait until the 81st minute to get their next goal, but after an incredible strike from Kokchu, it would be 2-0 for the visiting side with just minutes to go. Benfica would hold on to that lead to win this match as Juventus lose in front of their home crowd yet again. Moving over to the north of France, Lille and Feyenoord were both looking for a win that would potentially get them into the top 8. The French side would get off to a cracking start as Sarawi's sublime finish into the bottom left corner would give Lille a 1-0 lead in just the 4th minute. The Dutch visitors wouldn't take long to respond, and just 10 minutes later it would be Jimenez who would capitalize on a great set-piece play, bringing the game level at 1-1. The next goal of the game would be an own goal off of Gernot Trauner in the 38th minute, giving Lille a 2-1 lead before the break. Feyenoord would concede yet another own goal in the 57th minute after some unlucky play by Hanko would give Lille another goal, giving them a 3-1 lead. Lille would go on an incredible run and went on to score 3 goals in the space of 6 minutes, which would ultimately give them an unthinkable 6-1 win over Feyenoord. Taking our attention over to the Etihad for the most intriguing match of the day, Manchester City and Club Brugge went head-to-head in a must-win match for both sides. The first half would see both sides giving it their all, and in the 45th minute it would be Onyedika's beautiful strike that would give Club Brugge an unbelievable 1-0 lead going into halftime. Manchester City would come flying out of the gates in the second half, and with Kovacic scoring City's opener in the 53rd minute, the match was now level at 1-1. The next goal of the match would also go City's way after an unfortunate own goal from Ordonez would give the English side a critical 2-1 lead. City's final goal would come the 77th minute, and with Savinho's second ever goal for his club, the English side would go on to claim an incredibly important 3-1 victory. The next match of the day would take place in Eindhoven as PSV faced off against a flawless Liverpool side. It wouldn't take long for the English visitors to find the opening goal, with Gakpo's clean penalty finish in the 28th minute giving the English side a 1-0 lead. It would take just 7 minutes for PSV to respond, and after Bakayoko's incredible solo effort that found the back of the net, the match was now level at 1-1 in the 35th minute. Liverpool would take command of this match once again, and Elliott's goal from a rebound in the 40th minute would give Liverpool a 2-1 lead with minutes to go until halftime. PSV would find 2 goals out of nowhere just before the break, with Saibari striking the 45th minute and Pepe's effort in the added time giving PSV a shocking 3-2 lead going into the break. An incredible first half would lead to a rather average second half as PSV would hold on to win this match by 3-2, handing Liverpool their first loss of the season. Moving over to Austria, Salzburg and Atletico Madrid went up against each other in another match with relatively low expectations. The Spanish side would strike right from the get-go as Simeone's beautiful finish would find the back of the net, giving Atletico a 1-0 lead in the 5th minute. Just 8 minutes later, Griezmann's casual finish after some great team play would give Atletico a commanding 2-0 lead in just the 13th minute. Atletico would get their 3rd goal of the night just before halftime, with Griezmann bagging his brace in stunning fashion to give Madrid a 3-0 lead. Atletico would add a 3rd goal scorer to the list in the 63rd minute, with Llorente's strike giving the visitors a 4-0 lead. Salzburg would get their consolation goal in stoppage time as Atletico came away with a dominant 4-1 victory. Taking our attention over to Portugal, Sporting CP and Bologna faced off in a critical match for the home side who were looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Italian visitors would get the first goal of the match in the 21st minute after Pobega's header from a corner kick would give Bologna a critical 1-0 lead. Sporting's crucial equalizer would come in the 77th minute, and with a scruffy goal from Harder, the match was now level at 1-1. That score would hold until the final whistle as the two sides would have to settle for a 1-1 draw. Going back over to Austria, Sturm Graz and RB Leipzig went head-to-head in a match between two sides who were already eliminated from the tournament. The Austrian side would grab the first goal in this match after Arjen Malic grabbed his first goal of his Champions League campaign in the 42nd minute. That would be the only goal of the match as Sturm Graz finished their season off on a high while Leipzig succumbed to their 7th defeat of the campaign. Heading back over to Germany, Stuttgart and PSG faced off in a winner-take-all match with a spot in the playoff round on the line. It would be none other than Bradley Barcola who would get PSG's opening goal after a beautiful cross and header would give the French side a 1-0 lead in the 6th minute. The next goal of the match would come after Dembele's tap-in goal was reviewed by VAR, giving PSG a 2-0 lead in just the 19th minute. Dembele would get his second goal in the 35th minute after a great strike into the left side of the net would give PSG a solid 3-0 lead. Dembele would get his 3rd goal of the night in the 54th minute after a gorgeous curling effort into the top right corner that would give PSG a 4-0 lead. Stuttgart would eventually get 1 goal back in the 78th minute from Furyk, and with that being the final goal of the game, PSG would come away with a crucial 4-1 win. And finally, to finish off a wild day of football, Young Boys and Red Star played out a match that had 0 implications for either side. The Serbian visitors controlled possession and had plenty of chances in the first half, but despite their efforts, the match was heading into halftime stuck at 0-0. Red Star would continue their momentum in the second half, and with Kanga's absolutely stunning strike in the 69th minute, the Serbian visitors would grab a 1-0 lead. That would be the deciding goal in this match, as Red Star came away with a 1-0 victory. With 64 goals across 18 games, Matchday 8 had officially come to an end. After an incredible day of football on Matchday 8, here are the biggest headlines from around the league. Aston Villa's impressive performance over Celtic sees them finish in 8th place, grabbing the final spot in the top 8 from Atalanta. Bayern Munich and Dortmund were quite impressive on the final matchday, with both sides grabbing 3-1 victories, but with 15 points each, they will have to settle for a playoff spot. Dinamo Zagreb shocked us all and managed to defeat AC Milan, but they find themselves in 25th place and just barely miss out on a playoff spot. Inter Milan's 3-0 victory over Monaco secures their spot in the top 8, while Monaco will have to settle for 17th in the table. Lille's incredible 6-1 win over Feyenoord sees the French side finish in 7th place, while Feyenoord survive their scare and finish in 19th place. Manchester City come away with a vital 3-1 win over Club Brugge, but both sides finish on 11 points each and qualify for the playoff rounds. PSV Eindhoven came away with a very entertaining 3-2 win over Liverpool, as the Reds lose a match for the first time this season. And finally, PSG's 4-1 win over Stuttgart sees the French side finish in 15th place, while Stuttgart are eliminated from the season's tournament. With the league phase coming to an end, here's how the finalized table looks after 8 incredible match days. Liverpool finished the inaugural league phase in 1st place, followed by Barcelona in 2nd and Arsenal in 3rd with 19 points each. Inter Milan's impressive play lands them in 4th, while Atletico Madrid finish in 5th as the only side with 18 points on the board. Bayer Leverkusen, Lille and Aston Villa round out spots 6, 7 and 8 as they all finish on 16 points each. Atalanta and Borussia Dortmund slip out of the top 8 as they finish in 9th and 10th place respectively. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and AC Milan are the 3 big names who find themselves in the playoff round, finishing in 11th, 12th and 13th place. PSV Eindhoven finish off an impressive campaign in 14th place as they also finish on 14 points. PSG managed to save their season on the final matchday as they are followed by Benfica, Monaco, Brest and Feyenoord on 13 points. Juventus make it to the end of the league phase in a lackluster 20th place as both they and Celtic finish with 12 points on the board. Manchester City are the surprise team down in 22nd place as they join Sporting CP and Club Brugge near the end of the playoff zone with 11 points each. Dinamo Zagreb just narrowly miss out on the playoff round on goal difference, with VfB Stuttgart not far behind them. Shakhtar Donetsk put up a valiant effort, but they finish in 27th place as the only side with 7 points from 8 matches. Bologna, Red Star and Sturm Graz finish in 28th, 29th and 30th place respectively as they all managed to get 6 points on the board. Sparta Prague finish in 31st with a measly 4 points from 8 matches. RB Leipzig, Girona and Salzburg have to settle for 3 points each as they could only manage 1 win and 7 losses from 8 matches in the Champions League. Slovan Bratislava and Young Boys round out the league table as the only sides who failed to win a single game, with a -20 and -21 goal differential for the Slovakian and Swiss sides. The league table is officially completed and now it's time for the playoff round. While the fates of most teams have been established, there are still 12 teams who await their destiny. The knockout phase playoff draw takes place tomorrow and we will soon know what the next stage of Champions League football will look like. UEFA's new format for the Champions League is slowly coming to life and I can't wait for what's next. But what did you think of Matchday 8 in the Champions League? What game was your favorite? What result was the most shocking? And is your side still in the competition? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more football content, tier lists, and everything in between. And as always, I'll catch you next time.